Standing at the foot of the world's highest peak requires 112 kilometers of trekking and 14 days of constant movement. This journey is dictated by rigid constraints that begin long before you set foot on the trail. Success starts with the bureaucratic math: a daily trail budget of roughly 50,000 Nepali rupees, a comprehensive travel insurance policy covering high-altitude helicopter evacuation, and 2 mandatory government permits to enter the region. To manage the weight, trekkers rely on a network of local lodges called tea houses. This system provides your shelter and meals, removing the need to haul heavy tents or weeks of food rations up the mountain. Your pack is reserved strictly for survival essentials. You need a sleeping bag certified to handle -8°C, a highly modular clothing system for extreme temperature swings, and the capacity to carry at least 2 liters of water at all times. In the lowlands, preparation is the mandatory entry fee. If your gear or your logistics fail here, you will never reach the snow. Kathmandu serves as the final staging ground. The capital city is the last chance to secure missing equipment or sleep in a traditional hotel before taking the required flight into the high Himalayas. To officially begin the trek, you must land at Lukla. The flight is entirely dependent on clear weather, targeting a terrifyingly short, sloped runway carved directly into a mountain cliff. Stepping off that plane places you immediately at 2,800 meters. The air is noticeably thinner, and from this moment forward, oxygen deprivation becomes the primary antagonist of the journey. The first day of trekking provides a deceptive start. Instead of climbing, the trail actually descends several hundred meters toward the riverside village of Phakding. This descent is a brief reprieve. Once you leave Phakding, the modern world disappears, leaving you dependent on your own physical endurance as the true ascent begins. The route pulls you deep into the Khumbu valleys, following the path of freezing glacial rivers. You cross these gorges over massive metal suspension bridges, strung high above the water and wrapped in colorful prayer flags. After a grueling upward climb, the valley opens to reveal Namche Bazaar. Carved directly into a steep slope at 3,440 meters, this is the last major outpost of development and the primary hub for adapting to the thinning atmosphere. Here, you settle into the daily rhythm of the tea houses. They offer a warm stove, a bed, and even Wi-Fi, though the cost of every comfort, from a hot shower to a battery charge, increases with every meter of elevation. Sustaining this effort requires specific fuel. While menus offer Western options, most trekkers rely on dal bhat, a heavy, bottomless plate of lentil soup and rice that provides the massive caloric density needed for sustained climbing. The permanent infrastructure maintained by the local Sherpa community is the only reason everyday trekkers can survive these conditions. They make the hostile environment accessible. This chart maps the 14-day elevation curve. Crossing 3,000 meters makes acute mountain sickness a critical threat. Preventing it requires a strict descent. You cannot sleep 500 meters higher than the previous night. The staircase pattern dictates mandatory rest days at Namche and Dingboche. During these rest periods, you must drink 2 to 3 liters of water daily to combat the brutally dry air. You also have to cut out alcohol and meat, both of which hinder the body's ability to process oxygen and digest food at altitude. Medi-trekkers supplement these rules with Diamox, a diuretic that artificially speeds up the respiratory rate to force the body's adaptation process. Success in this phase relies entirely on biological discipline. Even elite athletes will be evacuated by helicopter if they ignore the rules of acclimatization. Past Dingboche, the environment shifts. The tree line vanishes, replaced by a barren moonscape where every step upward requires a conscious effort to pull oxygen into your lungs. Near Lobuche, the trail passes a field of stone shrines. These are the Everest memorials, a quiet reminder of the climbers and guides who pushed their limits on the mountain and never returned. From the final outpost at Gorak Shep, you begin the last push along the edge of the Khumbu Glacier. You navigate hours of loose rock and jagged ice formations to finally reach Everest Base Camp. Upon arrival, you encounter a geographical irony. At this specific vantage point, The actual peak of Mount Everest is completely hidden behind the surrounding ridges. You reach this place to stand at the gateway of the infamous Khumbu icefall, a chance to touch climbing history and witness the sheer scale of the glacier up close. To see the summit, you must face one final challenge. At 3 a.m., in pitch darkness and freezing winds, you begin a steep ascent to the viewpoint of Kala Patthar. This climb pushes you to 5,545 meters, the absolute thinnest air of the journey. At this height, your pace drops to an agonizing crawl. As dawn breaks, the darkness lifts to reveal a massive, unobstructed golden sunrise. The light illuminates the towering peaks of Mount Everest, Lhotse, and Nuptse directly in front of you. After that moment, the math reverses. The slow 2-week ascent transforms into a rapid, multi-day descent back through the valleys to the airstrip at Lukla. The journey to Everest Base Camp serves as an ultimate test of patience and preparation, forcing a deep respect for biological limits against the raw scale of nature.